What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the All New Nerds podcast, number 78. And
wow,
it's officially Mandalorian season. Season 3 is coming out
tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
night,
as
tomorrow
you're
night.
watching this.
Tomorrow
For me, anyway.
I just want to do a quick throwback to the very first episode of the All New Nerds podcast, which was uploaded.
These two weren't here.
2 years.
I was.
2 years and 110 days ago.
Oh my God!
Just a small little channel,
which
small
was
channel,
titled
me and Dylan.
Season 2 or Episode 2, episode discussion and breakdown for the Mandalorian. So we've almost come full circle here. The channel's looking a little different than it was.
Nothing's changed since then.
It's true. Nothing's changed. We never did the first episode because I remember Dylan and I were like, I don't know, like because it was always a conversation like, oh, should we start a channel? And then we were like, once episode 1 came out and there was Boba, and we were like, okay, we get.
It's sort of strange to start on 2, but
is this our The Marshall review? Where we're doing that right now? 3 years.
No, I was just
we talking about. We
could go full circle and review that.
Back around.
Let's bring it way back.
Well, I mean, it does sort of make sense because that we'd be talking about premieres.
Marshall review, good episode, loved it.
Great episode.
Great start.
Good premiere. So I'll just launch right into it. Are we expecting season 3, episode 1 to have as good as a premiere as the Marshall was, which is like, as far as television season premieres go, is like way up there, like all time, I think.
Great
episode. I sure hope so.
As been discussed, not on the channel yet, but frequently online, it looks like the premiere is going to be 35 minutes.
It's true.
So we do know that. A couple of things here.
So shorter.
Firstly, season 1 premiere, also about that length, only a couple minutes longer. One of my favorite episodes. Dave Filoni directed The Mandalorian. Yeah. Great introduction. Great so I think the argument that longer equals better or shorter equals worse. Nonsense.
The Heiress.
The Heiress.
One of Ben and I's favorite episode. Tragedy.
I think those are true. However, I think literally the best test case is the literal premiere of this entire show, which is almost the same length and gets so much done in that time. However, just for the pod in general, before we go forward, I am curious because I think we've all pretty much been going back and watching some Star Wars stuff before to prepare for Mandalorian season 3, and we've been talking about behind the scenes. I do want to throw out
my face is. I forgot my face was in there.
Your face is always here. I want to throw out I've been thinking a lot about ranking the episodes, and I really am struggling to get down a list.
Now, are you doing Boba in that group?
No.
Well, we had that debate too.
We had this debate.
I'm saying,
this sounds like we're gonna go on a tangent here. I want to quickly put my thoughts in the 35-minute thing.
Yeah,
because you threw it out there. I am very upset about this, not because I think longer equals better or shorter is worse. Because, as Johnny said, the Heiress, my favorite episode of The Mandalorian, fantastic episode, and short, very short. It's just the fact that we've waited. 2 years. 2 years, and I know that Lucasfilm is capable of putting out projects with lots of length. Willow is the golden standard for me.
It is.
We're getting no sub 45 minutes.
It's proven to be done.
It can be done.
Yeah, can be done.
And I don't understand why. I mean, Andor had all these long run times.
Yeah.
Even Kenobi for the most.
I think Andor's a little different though.
I know it is, but I just to the point where it's just. We know that with Star Wars they're capable of this. And why, with their biggest show, with the most hype that we've been waiting years for, why are we coming in on like a third? It's going to be like 32 minutes.
What if it's the best 35 minutes of your life?
It could be, but it's not about that. It's just that I want more Mando because it's only 8 episodes and it's only coming out after 2 years. And I'm sort of a television guy where I like my 45-minute scheduled programming, like hour block. Like
we have a lot to break down here because we haven't covered specifically Mando news in a while. We've talked about some of it on stream, but it's been a drip every day. Another one of those things, Ben, you talked about. Yeah, it's been 2 years, but also after Mandalorian season 3, John says confirmed now he's writing 4. Also, that there doesn't seem to be an end for that he has planned.
And that
it probably won't be until 2025 until we would see the Mandalorian again. So it might be another year.
What, Mandalorian? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it might be another year and a half plus gap. So,
because wait,
lot to discuss, lot to break down.
Oh no, yeah, that was a 2-year gap too. I was gonna say season 1 and season 2, but that was 2019 and 2021.
Nope, you were
2020.
Season 1 and season 2 only came out 8 months apart.
Yeah. That was the quick turnaround. That's right.
Because it wrapped. Because season 1 wrapped in December, of 2019, and it started airing again in October of 2020. So it was like 10 months, and then it was already back on the air. It was extremely quick.
That is wild, actually, to think about.
And then
much longer wait though, like Ben said. But we got Boba, we did get some of our Mandalorian storyline, but
as a fan of that.
It's been long overdue. Another season of Mandalorian. But we're very excited for it. I think everybody, I can speak confidently, say we're all here for it. But
yeah, what have you been? Have you been doing any rewatching?
Here and there. I
busy guy.
I went through all of Boba. I was sort of picking out my favorite Mando eps. I went back and I watched some Rebels Mandalore content, some Clone Wars Mandalore content.
Yeah, you guys know I did my rewatch over probably a few months ago now. I did all of Mando, and then Boba, and then watching it back to back and like all together in one huge chunk was actually a much different watch than the week to week, obviously, but it was good. It made me appreciate the shows a lot more, and I got to watch the gallery stuff too, which is awesome. So
I know.
Extra cool.
We definitely want to start predicting and breaking down Mando 3 stuff, but yeah, I watched.
You've been doing the rewatch.
I did that just this weekend.
Yeah.
I watched all of season 1, and then all of season 2
season
over like 3 days, and yeah, it's the same thing. I don't think I'd ever, especially after seeing Artur's great Mandalorian, The Gunslinger's Odyssey.
Shout out.
We gotta bring him back on the show. He's putting out calls, but like after seeing that essay and really sitting down and taking in, especially season 1, all as one piece, really changed my perspective.
Absolutely.
I think I've pretty publicly been like anti the episode Sanctuary for a while. That episode is completely turned on its head for me.
Honestly, same with me. That was one of my things. If you guys remember, I was saying mid on that episode, watch it again.
Basically, just Jedi Crash, the Jedi Crash arc. If it made it into
and Bounty Hunters,
I do love that village though too.
I know the planet is awesome.
Yeah,
Sorgan, Omera.
I'm
glad. I want to see Omera again. Like that setup now. I'm like,
we're all up on that episode now. We're all up on the
Din should come back after the show is done if he survives and settle down on Sorgan with Omera.
It'd be sick, dude.
Yeah, she's a cool character. Like she's the only one in that whole village who knows how to kill and shoot. And it's like, man, something's going on here. Like she had a past life.
She got a backstory. That's true.
She got a backstory. Maybe interesting. I don't know. Also, just I just loved. I just loved it. I loved it so much more than I did. Yeah, the week to week thing. Yeah. Not that I hadn't watched it all again. I had just never all in one sitting.
But doing that big.
It's like a 5-hour movie, 4.5-hour movie, and some of the shortcomings of when you're watching it week to week, like the absence of Moff Gideon, for example. I know when season 2 was airing,
it feels a lot more.
Yeah, it felt like oh my god, like what are we doing here? Like why aren't we doing this? Or how Boba doesn't show up again until episode 6, and you got the tease in 1, and he doesn't show up till
that still does feel a little.
But I'm not thinking about it. Like something else about season 2, where I want to get you guys in on the conversation is something I noticed is that season. Why I'm having a hard time. I brought up the ranking discussion. That season really is. Each episode is back to back to back. The story just flows one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. It is really just one long story. Whereas season 1 is. Here's a story.
A little more,
weeks pass, months pass. No, like there's no like hard. There's very hard like endings. This adventure is done. There's a new adventure now.
We're already following Mando
season 2 is he's driving off with Boba's armor in the Marshal. Passenger starts like the bounty hunter's going for the armor.
Pit stop.
Pit stop. He's running from the Mandalorians. Like
I don't know. I don't necessarily
one to one, and
it's like a video game in a good.
I don't know. It's very different. I think that the Gunslinger and the Prisoner are both sort of Adventure of the Week episodes. Not that I don't like them, but I don't know because he goes. I'm forgetting the guy's name, but when he goes in the Prisoner back to that the gang. The gang that he used to run with there.
Oh, yeah. Ron is that character's name.
Yeah. Ron. And just like he has a reason to go back there in terms of the story, but then he's like, well, go and do this and I'll help you out. It's like, so it's not really adding to the story and besides the character stuff.
Yeah, he's saying season 1. Yeah, season 1 is very much like that.
Adventure of the Week.
Season 2 has that kind of back-to-back,
it all flows
more one big narrative, cohesive narrative.
Yeah, the whole thing is literally like, you can watch every
personally,
episode
I prefer a straight through narrative because I think with Bad Batch right now we're getting an adventure.
A lot of people like season 2.
That's what I'm saying.
Most people like season 2 more. Yeah,
that's what I'm throwing down is that season 2 has a very different structure than 1, and that's not something I'd really thought about.
So I wonder if season 3 is gonna maybe be.
Yeah, that's what
I think it's gonna more of a continuous story because season 1 we're just getting into.
I think so,
more in character a little more.
I could even see them doing it in chunks a little bit. It could be
arcs, like Andor,
little arcs. Yeah, I could see it.
Well, to this point,
especially for what we kind of know already for this season,
To the point of comparing season 1 to season 2, and we were talking about this the other day, just between us. I actually think that season 1 might be a stronger season narratively, episodes 1 through 8, just as its own contained story. Whereas season 2 starts setting up this sort of continuous universe. We're bringing in Bo-Katan, you're bringing in Ahsoka, you're bringing in Boba, which is like a Star Wars fan. You're eating.
It leans heavier on the Star Wars,
on the Star Wars stuff.
Sure.
Whereas if I'm just talking about season of television, I think season 1 might be better.
I agree.
I think season 2 is more cohesive as well, long narrative. And yes, it does. Obviously, yes, like we just said, leans more into the Star Wars stuff. But I think it does. It is still have like great messages and themes and whatnot. And, like has really good arc for Din and whatnot. But
the episodes.
I agree. Season 1. Yeah.
The episodes are also way more
satisfying.
Well, I don't know about more satisfying, but
I don't know.
They're more thematically unique. Where you have the Marshal, which is a Western story with like the dragon
samurai story
in the hills. And the Jedi is straight up like this is Kurosawa. This is Yojimbo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's way more. These are all tone poems kind of thing.
Yeah.
Each director is really taking the vision. Whereas season 1, I agree with Ben. I think season 1 might be a better season of television, but I don't know.
I agree. I love season 1. I mean, season 1, like we were all been saying, is very much underrated. I love.
But do we think season 3 is going to be the best season? Let's talk about that and what's coming up.
Yes.
I don't know. You think it's going to be the best?
Could it be the best? From what we saw at Celebration,
pretty good.
I would hope that with this 2-year gap in extended production time, obviously COVID sort of factored into that a little bit. Like I understand, not necessarily going to be indicative of the quality, but I would hope that with a little more time spent, they're just going to get an even better product, just like visually and just production wise. And then as far as the story, I mean, I think we're really like moving into just like a really ripe area of Star Wars. Like, and if you sort of go through and watch, Clone Wars and Rebels and mostly just this Filoni stuff, like Mandalore is a huge part of that. Like always has been this like very just like complex political structure that is always just like has more stories to be told within that context. And I'm very excited to explore that more in live action. Like we're going to Mandalore for the first time, like in an extended amount of time, besides that one scene in Book of Boba, which is like awesome.
Probably some flashbacks
with
too.
the TIE bombers.
We can get into more predictions and stuff, but
just spending time on Mandalore, I think, is going to set this up
to
be the best season. So
I wouldn't give it all to Mandalore, but yes, I agree that but
if we're just talking about like, is this season going to be the best story? Like, I think that has the potential to be based off of what we know.
Yeah.
Well, as of recording right now, to your Mandalore point, there's just been a new trailer released, and we know from Book of Boba that Din is going. He needs to get cleansed in the waters in the mines of Mandalore or whatever. I think that's not the phrase. I'm thinking mines of Moria, but you get the point. And in this new trailer, there's clearly like a shot of him in like
this big cave.
Looks like an underground like civilization.
There. Yeah, it's like city. Yeah,
like there's like stuff down there, and I was not familiar with that element of lore.
And to that point, in that episode of Book of Boba Fett, Din does say to the armorer, he goes, "The mines were destroyed."
Yeah,
as if this is a place that people would know about, and he's like, "Yeah, they are destroyed. They are gone." And she's
dude.
Like, she literally just says like tough luck. She's like,
because you texted me the other day about how she mentions that there's like a mythosaur.
Yeah, she does mention
that's totally that's the Balrog.
It is, the mines of Mandalore.
Yeah, the mines of Mandalore, and then there's like, there's gonna be something down there.
I'm just gonna throw this out here now. What if episode 1 or 2, whatever the episode is, it's gonna be called the Mines of Mandalore?
I think that'll be the first story that we're tackling.
I know, but
which goes the
name of the episode?
That would be cool. But going back to my kind of ideas of like maybe this season can be a little more arc-like in its structure. I think I think it can maybe like start out this like first kind of arc about the mines and everything. I think that's very likely, and then maybe
I really did
get into some Moff Gideon stuff because
I didn't make the Balrog connection to just now, and I can't get it out of my head. Like that's total setup of, especially having seen this shot now from this trailer of him looking out onto these ruined mines. It's so much. It's so Lord of the Rings. And Dave and John love Lord of the Rings. This is there's totally going to be a freaking the Balrog down there, man. You can't not have the monster in the mine. I didn't even think of that. That's so good. And also rewatching Mando, I think the Mythosaur bit has been from day one. Episode 1. Queel's like, their ancestors rode the Mythosaur, man.
The mighty Mythosaur.
It was bound to happen. I mean, the imagery has been there from like the very beginning.
It's been I mean, like you said, no, it's been set up since season 1.
So. I think, and it's not. I don't think it's not secret of us to say, but Making Star Wars, who is a pretty reputable leaker, has referenced such an event, but we don't know for sure. Obviously, that's just rumors. But
I mean, like it's kind of logical to.
It's logical,
happen.
Yeah, and we've known about this leak for a while, and so I had forgotten
years old.
That she actually like the armor like mentions the Mythosaur, and she's like, upon the new age of Mandalore, like the Mythosaur will rise. And if we can make any broad predictions about the season, is that we seem to be uniting and sort
of new Mandalore,
rebuilding Mandalore. So I think that Mythosaur is pretty likely at this point.
Hey, you want to pull up the?
You want to show the frame?
I will. Yeah. Let me just find it first.
But what do you guys think about? I started to think about this while we're talking about. I think this season could be like an arc like season.
Oh my god, that's straight up. That's straight Lord of the Rings.
Which looks awesome, by the way. Like I love the look of this. We got Grogu in the so whatever this shot is here with the troll that they have put in every single trailer. They love this.
I know they love this troll.
It's like the hook like of the marketing for this like whole show.
This troll.
This is Grogu's force.
Imagine being that guy in the troll costume who like did this like one little like bit, and they put you in all the trailers.
I don't know. It could be a big fight. Who knows? Maybe Grogu's gonna get his troll signet.
Troll signet, yeah, a clan of troll. Look at that though. Come on. That's total. There's a creature in there, man.
Of course,
an ancient city. I know.
I
am actively realizing. I'm actively. It's just the shot.
No, I know, but the connection of like this is it's the Mines of Moria.
It's the mine. Like I didn't make that connection, and now I'm just sort of like now going through the episodes week by week. This is now going to be a theory in my head. Like I don't know. We've seen so much of the same footage over and over again. Any like new frame, I'm like, oh. This must be this.
So, I know it is sort of crazy. Sort of like small random trailer that hasn't been advertised very well. Like sort of drops like some new footage on it.
Yeah, big shot. There's a few shots.
Like, we'll get to it. But Johnny, you were making the point about.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
it's an arc season, and I was gonna.
I think that sounds.
I was gonna disagree and say that I don't think it'll be like that. I think in this 8-episode form. I think that it's still going to follow this sort of like each episode is going to be contained to its objectives.
Season 2 style.
Yeah, season 2 style. Whereas like,
I'm just saying, I wonder if they would try something new.
I think the Mines will probably be an episode of its own. Like I don't think that's going to extend like multiple, like because to be an arc to me it really needs to be 3 episodes.
Well, here's my thought. I think we could. I mean, I think we can all. It's all safe to say that episode 1 will start on Navarro. I think.
Well, that's just what's been most marketed, and I think probably yes.
I mean, again, if they would show a clip from an episode, it seems like that would be
on in Navarro, like so much that I don't know. It seems to be at least an episode's worth. And I don't know if it would all be that first episode. Even more.
Yeah, but I'm imagining that we have this whole Navarro thing, and then we go into.
Carl Weathers has mentioned. Hold on, Carl Weathers
from there.
Before this conversation goes on, Carl Weathers has mentioned how I think he's in 4 or 5 episodes. He directed one, and also in the trailers you see Mando in different like there's different things happening on Navarro that I think it's going to be maybe a running plot thread throughout the whole season. It's not necessarily like he might stop on Navarro in episode 1 and have that little bit.
That's what I was thinking.
But I think there's going to be way more going on.
Navarro is sort of the.
You think they'll go back to Navarro?
Like, oh yeah,
Navarro is the hub world of the Mando universe. Like it's where he's going to recharge.
Well, they're not going to
like the new tattoo.
They're not going to do IG-11. Breaking off the statue in the first episode.
That's what I'm saying. So I think he's going to stop in. I think the Mines.
Or could they?
I don't think so.
I'm being
because we've seen footage of a big Mandalorian fight happening on.
And that's
Navarro.
not. Yeah, they can't.
And that wouldn't happen until we get to see all these other Mandalorians.
What if it did?
It would be.
It wouldn't make any sense.
It wouldn't make any sense.
I would be thumbs down on it. Well, I mean, I can't say that, but.
Well, I think it's fair to say that what you've seen, it would make way less sense.
Yes, I agree.
Start it in the middle and then do all this building up.
I'm more so being devil's advocate. I agree. Yeah, no, I wouldn't see how they could fit that
Johnny,
all into.
I hate to be like that guy, but so in what I was getting at earlier is in certain scenes, the N1 has the Grogu spot, and in others it has R4, and the bubble has been removed. And you see in certain shots on Navarro, R4 is with them, but they get R4 from Tatooine. And that's after the bubble thing is removed. So it's like there's clearly a timeline of he has Grogu with him. He goes to Grief. They have that clip. He goes to Tatooine, or there's something else happens before he gets R4 in the N1 to then come back to Navarro. Yeah. That's just like it.
To that point,
we're like speculating, but it is like it's
no,
not,
I know, and we see Grogu.
I'm just trying to shut. I'm shutting it down. It's not happening in episode 1. It can't. It wouldn't make any goddamn sense.
I agree.
It'd be the worst. It's like season 3 is the worst premiere ever. Like they spent like 2 minutes on each scene, and like, all right, now we're here. It's terrible.
Literally,
that'd be awful.
Yeah. What do we think about this premiere? What do we think is gonna be happening? I mean, yeah. So it's setting up the
I think it's
the whole Mandoverse again.
I think it's the stuff that we've seen in the desert.
The stuff we've seen. You think that'll be the first set?
Yeah. I think he's gonna start with right around in the first 10 minutes. You get that clip of Grief Cargo where he's like, "Why don't you stay here, Mando?" And he's like, "I got stuff to do." And then he's gonna go off and find some Mandalorians.
Meet up with Mandalorians. Yeah, I can see that.
And then maybe we end the episode of them going into the mines.
I don't know necessarily on Mandalore. I think the mines might come mid-season or
interesting.
I think it'll be early season. Yeah, he needs to have that happen.
That's that is his only objective right now. Technically,
I feel okay. Yeah, this is interesting to talk about. Well, firstly, because I think the mines also and what the armor has been talking about. Well, I want to talk about who do we think is going to rule Mandalore. There's a couple of contenders, but to me, everything that's been set up so far in the marketing and the season is like the mines are the end point of this season. Like getting everyone to the mines.
You think so?
Yeah, because there seems like there's so much going on. Like there's a shot in the trailers of him talking to the armor, like I got to atone, and she's like, "Yeah, man, like go do it." Like I think.
Yeah, but I can sort of see him atoning, like early on, and then.
But they've set Mandalore up,
and that's when the Mandalore like conflict happens between like who's gonna rule it, because he would need to do that before he even felt like he could rule Mandalore.
In my head, they got to set up all the different factions of Mandalorians. We know that from the trailer. Then. There has to be. We have to establish, because we're not even factoring in like literally the log line of the show, like the synopsis. Half of it is as the New Republic faces an emerging. Like there's this whole other plot line with Pershing and Carson Teva.
Yeah.
And like so, there's all this other stuff we also have to deal with in the season. So we have to establish that. We have to deal with building up the Mandalorians, Bo-Katan, all the different factions, how they're going to be at odds. And then getting them all to Mandalore to figure out who's going to rule Mandalore, because I feel like that decision would be made there. And in the show, having just watched it, they talk about Mandalore like it's like hell. Like some people are like, you can't go there.
Even
Boba,
you're making me think
glass.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be like we're finally at Mandalore. Like we gotta build up to this moment.
No, you make me think more about it because I don't think there's any public footage of this, but Bo's in those mines with Mando and Grogu.
Yeah, when she's like, "You
celebration
think your dad is the only Mandalorian?"
Yeah. Well, let me throw this back at you. Is that
throw it? I love this conversation.
We only get like a few episodes of footage in all these trailers. You go back and look at the season 2 trailer.
True.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I had been leaning
the
towards
first 4 episodes, and it's barely shots from the 4th episode, and it's stuff on Navarro, which was already in the first 3 episodes.
And there is a track record.
Even
just showing
the track record, I would say 3.
Andor
was the exception to this, or Andor is like, we're just going to show you the finale, like screw you.
Yeah.
Mando doesn't do that. So
Mando different.
Well, Mando 1 did.
I am interested to see what the synopsis of season 2 was, and just be like, he's looking for a Jedi. Just the point being is that the story can change and mold very quickly, and it's not like
I can see the Mandalore being like a mid-season thing, and
I think
the larger event.
I don't know if it's mid-season, but I think the mines are mid-season. I think getting to Mandalore is like the episode 4, like
it can episode 4, fine. It can't be later than 4. I don't think we're getting footage of episode 5 and on. I don't.
Fair. It's a fair take.
Now it is a little different in the Mando season 2 kind of thing because obviously like
the back half was
like Boba,
Ahsoka.
Like,
True.
so it was
Luke.
Luke. Those episodes that make sense that we weren't like getting sort of a sneak preview of it, but to that point, we don't know what's going to happen in this season too. I mean, we can talk a little about cameos, but
we've had multiple actors say, because people are getting asked, they're on the press tour, Jon Favreau, people are asking, will we have more episodes that will break the internet? And they're all like, yes.
Yes. I mean, this is a fun cover. I mean, we can get
what is
that?
Probably.
The characters we're hoping to see.
I mean, there's more. I mean, obviously we have that Order 66 flashback scene, so we don't know where that's going to go.
That too. We're going back to
like
Jedi.
We're having flashbacks, and like I can and we've been saying this. We're going to see Mandalorian. I can see us having a flashback on like a Clone Wars.
Can I cut in? No. Can I cut in real quick? I listened to a theory about that's not actually Clone Wars, but that's
which thing?
The flashback that it's actually Old Republic. It's the Mandalorians coming to take the Darksaber from the temple with Tar Vizsla.
I can see a Tar flashback.
That was going to be one of my early.
Because there's nothing inherently that sets that scene Order 66 necessarily. I don't think. No, we don't see who's coming through that door. We just assumed. So it stands to reason that we could see the siege of Mandalore.
I know, but I'm like picturing the same hallway from.
No, but there's a different amount of Jedi.
True.
That is not the Grogu scene. That is not the Grogu scene.
It's not the exact same scene.
That is not the flashback.
I think it could be part of. I think it's the Occam's razor is it's part of that whole sequence, and we're finding out more about that whole night with Grogu. I think that makes a lot of sense. And some of like the foreign social accounts have said as much. But I don't think it's. I also don't think it's that crazy that we would see something like the Darksaber being taken.
I think that's
from the temple.
I mean, it's so central to the whole plot of the entire universe at this point. So I would. Can you imagine a Tar Vizsla flashback, dude?
I can.
I can. It'd be insane.
I
mean it more in
this season.
I hope so.
The Darksaber being such an important, like, just sort of MacGuffin of this, like, it seems very important that we need the backstory for like the casual fan. And Tar Vizsla has been talked about in Book of Boba, but I mean, a lot of people might not have seen that. And, like for the casual fan.
I mean, that's even making me think more. Like I could see, I could see us going, and I brought this up right before we started, but like I could see us going into pre-Vizsla stuff. Then like during Clone Wars, like I could see like for them to explain where the Darksaber was during that time too, though. I mean, but that's for like casual fans who don't obviously.
I think Bo-Katan might say it, but I don't think we'd see it.
Yeah, I don't think we'd see that either. But I do think we could see more.
Like, I don't know.
Actually, but Johnny, they did talk about it in Boba. Paz Vizsla says how his ancestor took it in the Clone Wars.
But I could see that being, I could see that being pushed further. But we'll see. We'll see.
I'm saying it was touched on.
I know.
Gosh, I put my head in my hands there because I was sort of just thinking about. We haven't seen a single ounce frame of Moff Gideon. And Giancarlo is like talking on the storm about all of how he is in this season. So I'm like,
he's in this season.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying he's not. I'm not implying he's not. I'm more saying Giancarlo keeps talking about how much he does in this season. And
I know, but let's think about season 2 though. Season 2
Moff has always been sort of in the background of Mandalorian.
Yeah, the hidden figure.
3 episodes. He's 4 technically.
Yeah, I do think I can perfectly see though us getting like. The first time we'll see Moff is like the Coruscant.
Well, yeah. Let me throw out a prediction for you. We see Pershing on Coruscant. Like,
what episode are we thinking?
3. That would be probably 3 or 4.
I thought 3 as well.
Well, so one question being, if we are going to be following whatever's going on Coruscant, is Mando going to be there, or is that something that they're cutting away?
I could see it. No, I could see it being its own thing.
Which, to that point, I don't think we've seen the story deviate from Grogu or Mando at any point in the show.
I could throw the Boba thing.
I'm not talking about Boba. I'm talking about Mando.
No, I know. No, I know that. I'm talking about, but like.
But even that was Grogu.
These shows have been known to like do cutaways now. Like that's like a thing they established.
Yeah, no, there were plenty of cutaways in season 2. There's a couple scenes with Ahsoka in the Jedi. Where
well, obviously
he means more. I think
different.
He means more episodes, right?
Like I think it'd be sort of interesting to cut away to a whole thing going on in Coruscant. I mean, could even be a majority of an episode.
Intercutting between different plot lines. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but I do think again, Boba established that they might have this might be a thing that they do across the show. So I could
but it was cutting away to the other titular character of the universe, right? Like it's a little different cutting from Boba.
True. I mean, I know he's not
titular,
but
from
I think
Mando
to Pershing.
I think that Gideon's a huge. I know, but it's leading to Gideon. I could see that.
I'm starting to think that maybe that's the maybe that's
plot.
the F4. It's like a Pershing F. Where you like
the Pershing cutaway to get
where it's sort of like a bottle, it's sort of like a bottle up, to build up the villain again.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. I could see that being a whole cutaway episode.
I don't know if I want to go away from Mando that long with only an 8-episode show.
But I think this is one of those things, though, is when we watch it back. When we watch it back, it might not be.
When I watch back Boba, I still am like,
I have faith it'll be good.
Boba is a little bit different because Boba was a 4-episode arc of a character that ended. And then like 3 episodes of a whole different show.
I will say though,
that's different.
But let me make this argument. What if the whole Mythosaur cave stuff is done in 3 episodes and then we do the?
That's my prediction. I think
that's sort of what I'm saying. Like, what if? I'm coming around to your point of view of, I don't see. Then I don't see a cutaway being that crazy. We've dealt with Mandalorian.
They bang out these 3 things.
It's crazy. I'm just trying to picture how that's going to go down.
I also more want to distinguish it from Boba because I think Boba is a unique case where
I agree.
Boba was not only billed as the next chapter of the Mandalorian by the company, but it was clearly, I don't know, that's a unique.
It's way different. I know. That's why I said I don't count Boba. I said that from the start.
I do count Boba. I'm just saying.
I count Boba. I was more so just saying like they're willing to take breaks from their titular characters. So I could see that being an ongoing trend. That's me though.
Anyway, on the Pershing note, I think it's likely or possible from what we've seen in the trailers, there, especially at Celebration, there were multiple shots of just Pershing and Katie O'Brien's comms officer who doesn't yet have a name, and shots of that in like the official trailer of just Pershing on presumed Coruscant, and then Pershing and Katie O'Brien, and then Pershing and Katie O'Brien looking at a bunch of Star Destroyers, then like them doing like spy shit. Like
I know, I feel like we've seen so many like different shots of them, like in a variety
at the very least, it has to be a subplot.
Yeah, a subplot. Yeah, I could argue an app, but we'll see. I do think they'll probably get their own app.
I just don't.
But with the goal obviously being getting Gideon out and having him, come back into that narrative.
Because I feel like Bo-Katan right now has been sort of set up as the villain of this season.
True, but I think that's kind of
a misdirect.
Misdirect, yeah.
I don't think it is, but I think what is happening on Coruscant is going to be separate from the story until it all collides.
I think Bo could be kind of like our main villain, but then we have Gideon again be that kind of big bad.
This is where it gets confusing, and why?
I would disagree with both of those options. I think Armor is going to be the villain of this season.
Armor is the villain because Gideon, though, from what we know from leaked images, is that there's like a Snoke Praetorian thing going on. So that seems like
oh my god,
that seems like it'd be.
But could that connect to Gideon though? I don't know if that would.
Well, I'm saying even if it did connect to Gideon, that would definitely be that would be
sure.
I mean, as far as Gideon is one of the biggest players right now, still sort of in this new like what is we can sort of assume is turning into the First Order. Like, because obviously,
I mean, if Snoke's involved, then
I don't know, but like looking back to the end of season 1, we have Werner Herzog's character.
Werner Herzog, but
what did I say?
Werner Herzog.
Oh, no way I said that.
I didn't even catch
that. I don't even think I said that.
Werner Herzog.
We'll roll that back.
Okay,
rewind your clips about 10 seconds. Werner Herzog is what
his character.
The client
with the he doesn't even have a name. That's why.
Yeah, it's just the client.
The client.
He's a holdout, like warlord. He has the super dusty rundown troopers, and we see Moff come in with the Death Troopers and smoke them out, and it's like obviously this guy is way more connected to the Imperial remnants. So he's the big player here. So if you got something to say, but if we're going towards the whole Snoke, like First Order, Palpatine clone, like that's what we're shaping up into, then Moff is a huge part of that because he's like one of the biggest guys.
Or does he get overruled? Does Snoke perhaps take over as somebody higher in power? I don't know.
Well, obviously they would.
Well, there's also
I'm not saying he's the emperor. I know.
I'm saying
Thrawn,
whenever he, whenever he comes in,
as ranking officers go, I feel like he's maybe the Tarkin of this like era.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's like going to be the new emperor. I'm just saying if we're talking, I would say maybe he's in cahoots with Palpatine, or like they're in. I would argue that.
Yeah, I'm very curious on that connection. If they have,
I haven't read the Palpatine books or whatever.
If they are,
I don't know how much he's like sentient at this point.
His soul is like trapped.
Okay, so he's not like giving orders to people,
but he can't really like.
He's not ordering people around, but
he's like baby Voldemort.
So, but are we gonna see like a full walking and talking Snoke in the season?
No, I think it would be. It would be sort of a decrepit like. If something was verbal,
shriveled up baby Voldemort.
It's like Voldemort. Yeah, this is Voldemort is a perfect comparison in terms of Palpatine's return. Is that it takes forever and it's messed up.
To get a little Harry Potter in
ball-headed white guys.
Perhaps Moff Gideon and or Thrawn is the Peter Pettigrew to this situation.
A little bit.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Firstly, as someone who has read a bunch of books and stuff,
perhaps
one of them fans.
One of those guys.
My view of Gideon is that he is probably. So where the First Order is, like where the actual, Ray Sloan and the Imperial Remnants and Brendel Hux and all those guys who went off at the end of the Aftermath trilogy, they took off and they went to all the fleet that had gone on to the Unknown Regions. They're in the Unknown Regions. They're off in the west side of the galaxy. If you want to think about it as a map, they're all out in the west, in the Wild West. That's where like the First Order is. That's where Exegol is. That's where the Sith stuff is happening. Yeah. Where Gideon is the far east. It's the outer rim. It's the total opposite side of the galaxy. The remnants that we've dealt with so far are people who were they are remnants. They were left behind. The part of the Empire that was like deemed good to secede and become the First Order was taken away out of the galaxy to set up this faction and have been influencing things. So I think Gideon is connected to the extent that he is the top dog of those who got left behind, and he might be dealing with people in between, and he might be answering to somebody else. And he's one of clearly many warlords who got left. Because what in The Believer, what Miggs Mayfeld says, he says that all the remnant stuff out here is run by ex-ISB. It's run by the Security Bureau that got left over. Now we've seen Andor. We know what that institution was like. We know what the Security Bureau was like. Mm-hmm. So I think that these. Obviously, they're imperial. They're on the same quote unquote side as the First Order, but it's the exact same hierarchy you described with Gideon to the client. I think the people in the First Order are the one above Gideon, and I think if they showed up, they would smoke Gideon.
So you don't think Gideon knows Thrawn? Because assuming that Thrawn is out there and active, just based off.
Well, he is. I mean, that's what Ahsoka says. Like she says.
Yeah, I mean, where is Thrawn? I mean, she's gonna be looking for him. She's trying to find Ezra, obviously.
Yeah. That's interesting. I am curious to curious to who Gideon knows and who.
I know. I mean, we don't know how much of a player.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know.
Well, the bottom line point I was trying to make.
Aware of Thrawn. I don't know.
The bottom line point I was trying to make was that this is the Empire is not a united front right now. There's a lot of different factions.
Factions. Yeah.
And obviously the First Order stuff hasn't been clearly established in the on-screen canon yet of their origins. But if we were to follow, if they are respecting the lore, which they brought in Cobb Vanth, Andor has been pretty respectful of the books. Mm-hmm. So assuming it's at least like 50% accurate, whatever Gideon's doing, he probably is indirectly helping the First Order with his cloning stuff. Like I think he's cognizant of that, but really I think his experiments were more for him. Ultimately, and I think he was trying to use that power.
He wants to.
I think he wants to become force. He wants to become force sensitive. Yeah, I think he's ISB. I think he knew after the fall that ultimately the Empire was propped up by a Sith Lord, and the reason why Palpatine was so powerful was his connection to the Force. And if he can make people force sensitive, if he can have an army of force sensitives in a galaxy where there's only like three, right, like three main ones, that's huge. That's huge.
I think I think he he has a dark saber.
Because that's what they were doing before you go on. That's what Pershing says in the hologram in The Siege, in Chapter 12, The Siege.
Yeah.
He says there were promising effects for a whole fortnight when we transfused the blood into the volunteers, but then they deteriorated and became what we saw in the vets. Yeah. But I think they're trying to make someone something.
Gideon trying to be the next Mandalorian Jedi. I think. I mean, he had the dark saber obviously for a minute, not now, but I think that could go. That ideal could go further.
I think it's a little too
more to your point about the personal thing.
Just to imagine a world in which Gideon is sort of launching this campaign to get Grogu at all costs, and Pershing involved the clonings and trying to do this whole force sensitive cloning thing. Well, Palpatine is also on the other side of the galaxy doing the same thing.
Well, no. That's what I'm saying. It's part of that, but he doesn't really. He
doesn't know.
He doesn't fully. He's not. Yeah, he's not fully. Yeah, he's just a puppet.
Aware of the big picture.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a Dooku situation. I think,
it's the relation. It's the relationship that the client had.
Yeah, but still to
he's
that
small
point,
fry.
But to that point, he might still know. Either Thrawn or you mentioned Brendel or Ray Sloan.
Like, yeah, I do think. Just think about it, I do think he's aware of it, but again, like more.
I think he's involved. There's definitely someone above Moff.
Yes.
And I think it's the big.
I mean, it has to be Thrawn or
Palpatine.
And maybe he's trying to.
Well, at this point, it would be Ray Sloan, technically speaking.
Yeah, I think he's trying to cement his way into this new order. Maybe he knows about it, and he's trying to become the guy.
Think we'll see Ray Sloan?
I mean, I hope so. That's a dream. They put her in that Lego set.
Yeah, that was so random. That was so random.
They really threw her in there.
Which makes you go.
Which is the first. I know, but wow, but
they can't know. I know.
Lego is
Lego.
No communication.
Lego
kind of stuff.
People like exile Lego.
No, the reason why they did that is because in a certain point of view, like canonically, she is part of the, it's called the Death Squadron, like Vader's like personal fleet there during Empire Strikes Back, but the set is a Return of the Jedi set, even though it's clearly the TIE bomber from that scene in Empire.
This is what Lego does. So.
And she's there, but she's there in that scene. But it's like, why is it Return of the Jedi? Like, why? She's also in Return of the Jedi technically.
They can't get any movie right.
It's so funny. But either way, point is, she would technically be in charge of what is the First Order right now,
sure,
out in the unknown regions.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, I mean, we don't know the timeline of when Snoke usurps her, but I don't think Snoke isn't ready yet, so she would have to be in charge.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be cool to see her too.
It's her, and the way Aftermath Empire's End ends is her and Brendel Hux go to the unknown regions and like link up with the fleet of destroyers and the Eclipse, which is Palpatine's personal Super Star Destroyer, that are out in the unknown regions. And that is like the last we know of what happens in the time. We've done stories since, but that is the last.
They got to be setting that stuff up. I mean, again, I'm just thinking more about the Snoke and Praetorian Guards.
The Praetorian Guards,
the Mandos, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean,
Praetorian Mandos.
There's obviously this sort of whole plot with the First Order that's been sort of like they've been teetering around for the first 2 seasons, and I'm expecting them to go into it a lot heavier this season, which I'm very excited for as someone who's usually anti-sequel side. I am excited for it to get the treatment of we're getting something that's leading into it. Maybe it's going to make things make a little more sense for those who feel the Palpatine return was a little too rushed. So
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I mean, that's the dream, is to have a solid, I don't know, at this point, Mando's been on the air for 4 years, this era. Like, let's say a solid 7, 8 years worth of storytelling.
Yeah, I know.
Live action storytelling set between episodes 6 and 7.
Rich area.
So
I'd say it's the richest area.
It's the richest because 30 years. And then when you go back and watch it, as a fan, introducing new fans chronologically, it'll just flow. It'll just be like when Force Awakens starts and the First Order is there, you're not like, man, what happened? It's, I have 8 seasons of collective television to understand the development between then and now. That is the dream for me, because then it's the Clone Wars effect. Because then when people start coming around on the sequels like they did on the prequels, then I can sit back and be like, I was a fan.
Never gonna happen.
I don't know. Well, it could help. It could help. And
Clone Wars did it to the prequels, man.
No, I know. I wholheartedly believe that yes, this like the Mando stuff will make the sequels a lot more satisfying.
New fans won't be able to unsee the context. They won't be able to unsee context.
Well, I assume they would watch the sequels.
That is honestly one of the biggest things that excites me about this whole kind of Mandoverse stuff.
Yeah. We're talking about the Mandoverse, and I sort of want to get into who's kicking. Who's kicking around?
Who's around?
Because season 2 is sort of Wikipedia's greatest hits, as we like to call it.
Yeah, but it's a good season.
If we can expect some big cameos, so obviously we can talk about who we expect to return. Like Ahsoka, Boba, like those are sort of like Luke. Even those are in the conversation. Yeah. But I want to talk about new characters being adapted from animation to live action, or like I don't know.
I think New Gunray is coming back.
New Gunray. Well, I don't know. I know there just there's something lingering.
I think
right. You got some predictions. Some
I think
ones.
Mandalorians is the answer. Any Mandalorian that we've seen is probably. I don't think.
I think.
I'm not going to give you now.
I hope.
This is on the mind.
I think
I was just watching Protectors of Conquered Dawn, but
Good.
Fen Rao still being around.
He's alive.
He's alive. Like it seems like he would be involved. He's he's probably involved with the Mandalorian clans.
Literally any Mandalorian
so
living after the end of season 4 of Rebels, I think is easily fair game because this whole season is about Mandalorians.
Yeah,
and but obviously the whole show is the Mandalorian. But I mean, this one is specifically about Mandalore, and so anyone who's ever been relevant and who's worn that armor will likely appear. I just think that's not even like a crazy guess.
I think we're gonna get a Clone Wars era Mandalore flashback.
You keep bringing up the pre, and this is the one where
I was gonna go further with that, but I could just see that flashback in general. Just I could even see I'll even throw it out there. I could see Satine. I could.
Kate Blanchett playing Satine would be the best.
I'm just trying to think of how it all how it all factors in to the Mando storyline at hand.
I mean, Mandalore is we're the general audiences kind of need to be. I mean, obviously, yes, there has been a good amount of info dump about Mandalore so far throughout the shows, but I think that obviously this season's going to go a little more.
I think at a point the context is just go watch Clone Wars.
More.
Yeah.
True.
Well, this is what I counted with.
But
is that if we're talking a flashback, it's definitely would not be an extended long I'm thinking Book of Boba sort of the destruction of Mandalore, and that is like a 10-second scene. Is 3 clips, or the Book of Boba Camino flashbacks. I can see something happening 5 seconds, and then maybe we see some pre-Vizsla armor or something, But it's not going to be
no. I'm not saying a huge.
Jon Favreau's voice is Jon Favreau's deep faked it.
Yeah, it would be a very, very cool.
That would be crazy though.
So yes, I could see that, but I want to talk about characters who are getting a substantial role in Fen Rao, Ursa Wren, and maybe even Sabine could be on Mandalore at this time.
Well, I think we actually mentioned. Oh, go ahead.
Well, Sabine is the question, right? Because obviously we know she's in live action. We saw her at Celebration. Natasha came out.
Yeah, they're not hiding.
I think she's gonna get the Mando.
They're not hiding it.
And she came out at the Mandalorian panel.
I think that she won't be in Mandalorian season 3 because I think Ahsoka comes out this year at some point.
Sure.
I know what you're saying about this is brought up before the show, but you want to introduce the character before the spinoff. But I think it'd be a little much if we had to, because she's on her path right now. She's trying to find Ezra, from what we know. She's with Ahsoka. So if we introduced them here, and then you would have to immediately reintroduce them in the Ahsoka show a couple months later, being and here they are again doing that thing that we just told you they were doing. Just start them in that show.
That's a good point, but they have already done that with Ahsoka.
I know. I'm not sure I liked it.
Neither do I.
I love that.
They had her in Mando, and she's like, "I'm gonna go see Thrawn," and it's wait, I'm here with Luke, and she's like, "No, I'm gonna leave you now, Luke. Now I'm gonna go get Thrawn." Which is, I don't think we'll be seeing her in Mando, because that'd be ridiculous.
Oh no! Ahsoka's actually the one I think we will see.
Oh my god, I think we'll again, and she's like, "Wait, I'm still not looking for."
I've told you this. Freaking, she was supposed to be on some podcast, not some podcast. It was Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin's podcast because they're on Clerks together. Yeah, and they said, they said this was December 2021, so it was before Ahsoka started shooting. It was when Mandalorian season 3 was shooting, and they said, she can't be here right now. She's shooting Star Wars. Come on. If there's a Dave episode, which there is. I think that Ahsoka will be in it.
I want to. I just think it'd be so goofy for her to show up again.
We'll have another episode 6.
I know. I think
to that argument, if we do see her, then
maybe Sabine would be with her.
With Sabine.
That's where I was leaving.
You're right.
I do think that they would.
Then we'd be okay, they're finally maybe getting ready to go on this mission. Maybe they're on Mandalore.
They're about to go.
But maybe they're not together yet because freaking that stupid post credit in Rebels or the end epilogue. We don't know when that takes place. Dave has said multiple times you don't know when that takes place, and it's like,
George voice.
Well, I was trying to do.
In true, I'll give you that because I mean we know that they're gonna do that scene in Ahsoka as well, like in the actual show.
You know, yeah. So it's like, when does that take place? Because that would be like their introduction together. Like, she's going to get Sabine because Sabine stays on Lothal. Sabine says, "I stayed to protect Lothal."
But the thing is, I could see them playing with the time a bit because they already kind of have because I think that we will see. I mean, this is just more so a theory of mine, but I think we're gonna see how Ahsoka met Luke in Ahsoka. So again, we've already seen them together in Boba.
Afterwards, yeah.
So I could see.
Well, I think it's almost Sabine. I think it's almost certain that Ahsoka will start before. After
most of the stuff,
if that makes sense, because they gotta fill in the gaps here for especially the general audience of like. I could see them starting
Ahsoka's story from.
I could see, that's a show where I go Clone Wars flashbacks any day of the week.
Any day of the week.
Starting with that because they want to give the
that absolutely wholeheartedly.
But for
But I think this is why Filoni has not set a date on that end of Rebels.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where he wants to sort of remain open.
Fit everything in.
I don't know. Those are.
I think more on my list of course, it was a good decision.
I don't think they need to be in the show at all. Like,
I think Ahsoka is in the show. I just think she is. Like
I would be more. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be more surprised if she wasn't.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I don't know. I always want more Ahsoka. I don't know if we need her. Like I think I'm ready for Ahsoka to start.
But you gotta think too. They gotta.
But these weren't even the
I'm not gonna say advertise the next show, but like.
I was expecting a new.
They're doing advertise though, Johnny. I think at this point, she's just established as a character.
Yeah, they're establishing.
In the era.
Yes.
Because she's been in every season since Mando 1,
I know, but I want her to be in her own show now, like.
I think we will, but I think it's a little less of.
We're getting that.
I'm just saying.
Like I would think they should just wait. I don't know.
I don't think it'll be a substantial a whole nother.
Well, she's no Bo-Katan for so freaking.
I know that connection too, and that seeing them together would be awesome.
She has a personal connection to Mandalore, obviously,
and we know that they're at least still in communication.
Yeah, because
she knows that she's on Corvus, which seemed like she wasn't there for very long.
I could easily see.
Let me put it this way: I'm not saying I don't want her to be in it. I'm saying that as a fan, I want there to be a very good reason for Ahsoka to be in the show.
I think she's going to be with Bo.
I think the reason is
and that's a fine reason. But I need a good reason for it to be involved in her
her plot.
Her plot. Not like she can't just always be there when Mando's there. I want her to be looking for Thrawn and Ezra and so if she's with Bo.
You're getting that though, super soon.
No, I know, but you're missing my point. Is that she keeps showing up.
Well, I think they can explain it. I think she's.
I think Mando's plot. They've done fine so far.
I think she's on the hunt though. She doesn't have to be constantly doing it. And if Bo was like, "Hey, I need your help," she can say, "Yeah."
I know. I'm saying I don't love that they keep especially just after the scene in Book of Boba where she's like I gotta go now, and it's I thought you said that last time.
Yeah.
If she's pausing the mission, I don't think it's much of an ask to have her be with Bo for a reason of I'm trying to forward my quest right now. Even if it's information, if it's resources, any of that.
Fair.
And she could be with Sabine, on Mandalore, I don't know, with Clan Ren. Any of that would work for me. I just don't want her thrown in there for Mando's sake.
Okay, now I'm thinking about what if they pull Ahsoka in because it's a Mandalorian all hands on deck meeting and Sabine's well, I gotta go to this. And Ahsoka comes with.
Yeah, of that works for me. That's all I'm trying to say. I
think they've been doing these puzzle pieces though with Ahsoka, setting her in all these shows, and then they'll explain it in Ahsoka. I think the timeline will be a lot more clear, just like Boba.
Sure. Well, I want to bring it over back to the other side of things. We're talking about Moff Gideon, Coruscant. Yeah. I want to talk about the political structure and who we could see there, because this is sort of the height of the New Republic. Or actually, not even. No, not even, because we sort of hear in the beginning, all the way back to episode 1, it was New Republic credits. That's a joke. That's what Mando says. So obviously they're not fully established here. So this is sort of an up and coming New Republic, and who is involved in that? And 2 people come to mind, or 3, I guess, with Bail. Or Bail is dead. Sorry, Bail is dead. Sorry. Sorry.
The ghost of Bail Organa.
Sorry, Bail.
I meant to say the Senate pod.
I meant to say another Organa.
I meant to say another Organa. That'd be sick. He's like this.
Leia. Yeah.
Leia. Sorry. Continuing Bail's.
Leia, I think, is a lock for this season, as well as Han. That's my opinion.
Well, I don't know Han. I'm not going to go there. But the other thing I was going to say was Mon Mothma.
I think the two of them together.
Mon Mothma at this point is like, she's huge.
I mean,
so if we are going to Coruscant, if we are going to see the Senate, she would obviously be there.
Yeah.
And obviously we're very set in terms of a live action actress playing Mon Mothma. I'm sure that she'd look a little older obviously than Andor, but that's not a problem there. So.
No.
I know Genevieve has been playing the character since 2005.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Clearly, she's fine.
They'd probably just age her up a bit with makeup, and it's like that's fine. So
I won't have an issue with it.
I mean they wouldn't age her up. I do think it's getting a little goofy with Bo-Katan look like because in her 50s.
I think she's technically like almost 60. Yeah.
Yeah, she looks great. So that's sort of funny.
I had a
because she always wears the helmet. It's good for her skin.
Yeah. Well,
I kind of have a thing that I wanted to bring up, but I can.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm thinking because you brought up way earlier that there's gonna be some like Luke level moments in this season.
Well, I think it might literally. I think it might literally be Luke, though.
I would.
You're taking it more literally.
I am taking it on its face value purely so I don't get myself too excited. And I think that they've established now that Luke. I mean, we spent like 20 minutes with deepfake Luke in Book of Boba. Like clearly they're willing to use him. And if the situation arises where they need a Jedi, they have his number.
So I'll going back to my thing. I think we could see Han. I think that could be one.
I don't see honestly. I hear what you're saying about Han and Leia, but I don't think we see them. I think we will see them in this universe eventually, just because of Luke and the precedent that's setting. But I don't think we see them.
Leia, I think maybe.
Leia is the only thing, but I think Mon Mothma is your biggest.
I'm sorry,
Mon Mothma.
I
that's
don't see how Han
kind of a no-brainer, right?
Like it would be horribly painful to try to butt him into his story. Like I don't, unless he's just with Luke. But then it's like if it's not doing anything, it's like why is he here? But as far as Luke showing up,
you think we're gonna see Luke? Yeah, I was gonna say.
As far as Luke showing up,
that's what I'm saying. Luke is the only one to me that's.
I know, but Luke wouldn't make sense.
He's locked.
Well, yes. I just think because
he's part of the show.
Levi said, he's part of the story now, especially with Grogu.
Is he though? I feel like he had.
No, let me talk. We haven't talked about Grogu yet, and obviously there's this huge plot thread left, sort of up in the air of like him choosing the Mando, but like I don't think that's said and done. Like they're not just going to be like, oh, we're forgetting that Grogu is like training to be a Jedi, and obviously when he shows up in Book of Boba after leaving Luke, like he does some crazy Jedi stuff. Like those skills are evolving. Like they're not just going to drop that. So Luke is very important in that story of Grogu. So I absolutely see them like.
Johnny, let me hit you with this. Let me hit you with this. In the trailer, we kept talking about it. The Troll Man, Stinger Troll Man. That's Grogu using his Force powers. If Grogu gets to a point where his powers and his emotions are getting to like a dark place because he's growing so powerful, Luke will sense that. Luke would show up.
And that is something they've teased all the way back to season 1 with Grogu force choking Cara Dune. Like I honestly can see Grogu taking a dark turn and Luke shows up. It's like, whoa.
My only counter was gonna be I feel like we had this story with Luke. And I feel like this will be a bit of a break. I'm not saying that we can absolutely come back to it, potentially even this season, but I'm not as like set in stone with it as you guys seem to be.
I just think no.
I hear you though.
Of all the OT characters that could show up, I just think that is the one that is the most like.
I think Leia. I think Leia is.
Okay, no, you want me to be no. Actually, you want me to be real honest? Technically speaking, Admiral Akbar is the most likely because he's also a key figure of the New Republic.
Well, let's got Mon Mothma.
But Leia is
if you get Mothma and Akbar though, that's like you cover your bases for like canon fans. Like those are like Admiral Akbar is the head of the military of the New Republic.
Akbar would be awesome to see.
I know, but you don't think if we saw a scene with them, you don't think we would see Leia?
I'm saying it's way easier for. And good on the budget for like Leia to be doing something else at that time, and they wouldn't need like I'm sure they'll reference her, but like
at the very least they'll get a line.
Like I said, Johnny, like I think she will show up eventually, but just in the case of like how practical it is, I think it's very easy to say here's Mothma and Akbar, Leia's off doing X, Y, or Z. We can develop the politics of this, and then build to oh my god, it's like Leia's here,
I would lean to like
I could see it happening in this episode. I don't know.
It could. I would say it's a lower percentage. Like, but like
that's like another Luke moment. Like seeing I mean,
I know, but think about how they would build to that.
If they have a Senate scene, I think that's a
I don't know, but like
no, but if you got Elena, she just was there.
Yeah, she's just there. She's not like reading anything.
What do you mean why? Because it would just be like.
She's there. It wouldn't be like a crazy like.
Well, I mean, again, we don't know what the contextual.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I feel like they will eventually build to that reveal in this era, but they would start with the politics in this season of here's Admiral Akbar, here's Mon Mothma. We have those actors. You know, Akbar's
I know. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Legacy.
It's
so easy.
I'm between you guys here. I think it's a low chance we see Leia. I think it could happen, but
I'm more against the fact that like she would just show up like that. Because
no, she wouldn't. No,
it would just be kind of like think about the way Luke. We theorized about Luke for a whole season. The way they drew that out, the way they built up Grogu's connected to the Force. If she was in it,
I do think Luke is a little bigger than Leia.
Exactly.
I might push back on that. I don't agree with you fully. I think that Leia is.
I'm sorry, Luke is the main character. Like
I know, but Leia is just as big. I think. I don't know.
She's not. She's probably she's like the third lead of Return. I mean, I
think she's just as big.
Han is the lowest in Return.
Yeah, well, of the good guys, I would put Vader.
I don't agree. I think she's just as big. She's just as big as Luke, and she will get like.
I'm sorry, as far as fan recognition and like big moment.
Fan recognition.
No, because we've already as huge as that. We hadn't seen Luke like yet, like in that context. Like, we'd already seen, it's sort of like a deep faked Leia in Rogue One, and we had Kenobi, which obviously she's way younger, but like it's still like the return.
We got a lot of Leia, yeah.
We've gotten a lot of Leia.
I know, but
we got it in Rebels, and just like it feels not as nearly as big as a moment of like.
They're not nearly as afraid to use.
Imagine like the end of season 3 is like the Leia reveal, and everyone's like crazy internet reactions.
I'm once again.
Yeah, like the return of.
Well, no, I'm in between. I'm in between you two. I agree with Johnny in the sense that I think Leia is an important character, but Ben is right because, from my point of view, canon fan, they use Leia way more than
I hear that
because Leia, like, they work with that character a lot. There hasn't been a year where there hasn't been like a good Leia story either in comics or books or on screen, because they put her in Rebels, they'll put her in Obi-Wan Kenobi, they will use Leia, she was in Rogue One. I
know, but this is like a different level.
I know, but Luke,
no, I don't think it is.
But Luke,
I think it is because it's this era specifically, but it's also gonna be deep fake.
I know, but I'm telling you, like, there's an era.
Which I think that is a huge thing.
Okay, but what is the context to you? Like, what is the big moment to you that would be like the Leia reveal?
We don't know.
I know, but like theorize on it, because I can't even theorize on it.
Before this keeps going, all I am saying is if it's a big moment, they would have to build to it, and it would likely be a political thing, Johnny. So she wouldn't just be there. It would be, oh my God, Moff Gideon has done XYZ, or Thrawn is back. And Leia would, like, end of the season, like, the New Republic's coming together. Leia shows up. Luke shows up.
Yeah, well, okay.
Like, that's how they would come in.
I'm not saying like this would be.
That's what you said. You're like she'll show up.
The first Coruscant episode we see.
That's what you said.
The first frame is Leia walking in.
That's kind of what you said.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
You were like, she just be there.
Yeah, you said she just be there in the episode. That was your take. That's why I'm sort of anti it.
I think that she will be within the season. Yes, I don't know how. I don't know how many episodes we're gonna have on Coruscant, so you can't.
True,
that's not even.
She wouldn't be
too.
Nah, this is. I don't want to waste more time on this conversation because it's so hypothetical.
I don't think it's that hypothetical. I mean, I think, like you said, at some point within this universe, I'm sure that we will see Leia. So
I'm saying I think it'll be this season.
If we're just talking about big, Luke moment, jaw dropping, like stuff that they're talking about, like Leia is high in that list, and so is Han. But it's just it feels a lot less likely to me. And if I'm just thinking about how they factor into his story, like I just like a big political moment, like Mothma is a bigger figure at this point.
I feel like Moff Gideon, like one of the warlords of the remnants of the Empire, is like a pretty big like Senate moment, or like a big trial thing.
I know, but it would need to be like now, like the senator, like it'd be like a big like musical spot. Like Levi is right that they need to build it up.
That's exactly what I could see.
They would need to build it up throughout the season. I don't think that would be too small. Like it just like wouldn't be as like okay.
I don't know if I because I don't know if I.
She's not the like the head of the Senate. You know, like it's not like her being.
She's a substantial figure, though.
Would be impactful. Yeah, I mean, like yes, but
at this point, she's more of a mother than anything.
Yeah, like she is taking a step back at this point.
But she.
Like,
at this
Mothma
point,
is the big.
Still involved.
Yes, she's involved, but I'm telling you, she has an infant. She has an infant son that
she wouldn't be the hard hitter. She wouldn't be the like this
Mothma is chancellor. Mon Mothma is chancellor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she's like way more impactful in whatever Senate stuff we might see, which is going to have to do with Moff Gideon.
I don't know. This turned out of my head. I mean, I think you guys take it a little more literal.
Well, that's if you even see the Senate. Because the Senate isn't the capital of the New Republic isn't on Coruscant. It's on Chandrilla.
That is true.
And that's not like this isn't canon. They say that in the siege. When that teacher is giving the lesson in the classroom, they make reference to how
I had forgotten that.
Like the chancellor is on Chandrilla with the New Republic. They say that. So it's not like, oops, we accidentally got it wrong. Like they've established that in the lore on screen. And
so
they've spent Andor, and just last year was a huge year for Chandrilla. Like Chandrilla, like for the first time ever, has gotten built out as like this whole culture and Mon Mothma. And if she did show up, I don't think it would be like, oh, and for some reason they're in the Senate on Coruscant. Like they wouldn't make.
Yeah, but what if they? I mean, I don't know. What if they were holograms or some of them? You know, they're like we could see.
No, I'm thinking Gideon is like he's ISB. Like this dude is dark. Black site. He's in like the Guantanamo Bay of the New Republic, which might be on Coruscant. He's in like the deep, like this planet is trillions of people. It's messed up. Even if he escaped, he'd probably die if it was kept in this like crazy, you know, let's say it's a tower that goes all the way down to the center of like the core. Like, oh great, I got out, but I'm on level 1313. You're screwed. Like I'm just throwing stuff out there. That's not based on anything. But I feel like what's happening with him is he's kept in a hole somewhere. Like this dude is deep down, and if he's ever like on trial or something, it would be a Mon Mothma coming to him, being like,
I think we're all in agreement that Mon Mothma is like pretty much a lock. If there's any involvement with some kind of trial or Senate stuff,
a New Republic thing, which obviously we haven't talked about Carson Teva, but like clearly like he's gonna have
he's the ranger
of a big role in this. Like he's the ranger. So the New Republic thing, it's like. They're gonna flush that out. So yeah, Mon Mothma just seems like a lock in that case.
Who else like out of some characters do you think that we could maybe see again, or rather, you know, new characters returning?
Well, yeah, I mean that's how we got. I mean that's how we got onto this conversation. We just about to Leia. I mean, you brought up Han. Once again, I don't.
I guess I could see it. Maybe I don't have an exact pitch for you, but I just think we've gotten Luke, and like, you know, I've just been really thinking about this like Luke level moment, like what that could be, like who that could be, or what it could be about. And
I was finding the description. So the description is: once a lone bounty hunter, Din Djarin has reunited with Grogu. Meanwhile, the New Republic struggles to lead the galaxy away from its dark history. The Mandalorian will cross paths with old allies and make new enemies as he and Grogu continue their journey together.
Yeah, so that's very like
a whole
blurb about the New Republic is that's pretty crazy. So obviously it's gonna be a big plot point.
Sorry, I didn't know what I sort of tuned out when you were saying I went to find that because I just remembered that.
I was just thinking of more
people. I mean, so Akbar. I hadn't really thought about Akbar, but yeah, I would say if that's the tagline.
I think we will see the main New Republic heads, but again, just further my point, I do think we could see Leia. I do think we probably will, but again, that's
my only point on that one, in a more like in the weeds canon thing, is that she is on Chandrilla raising Ben. Like that's where the Senate is. That's where the New Republic capital is.
But do you think we could see Chandrilla? That's another question.
I think maybe. I think it's just more likely. I think it's just
they've set that up.
I think it's just more likely that Mon Mothma goes to this black site prison on Coruscant to be like, I condemn you, Moff Gideon, to death.
She's like she's like the judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get the perfect set happening too. But I do just have this like image of just like this Senate room and all the New Republic heads are there, and I don't know.
I don't
We'll
know.
see.
I just thought of something because we're talking about Andor, and I know he'd be probably pretty old at this point. I'm thinking about Luthen. If he can somehow
That man
factor
dies.
in this.
No,
Yeah, no, Luthen going out before Rogue
Yeah,
One.
but this is just wishful thinking, right? Because
That's wishful thinking, but
Luthen's awesome. I know like, Tony wouldn't even allow that because it would just like it would ruin the suspense of season 2 of Andor. Like I know that, but
I think the only reason Tony would even let Mothma be in Mando is because she's alive anyway. Like I think if it was up to Tony, he probably would kill her off.
Yeah.
Kino, Roy, and Mando season.
I started to think about because
Herner Warzog.
Going back to Herner Warzog.
I don't think I said
that. Going back to season 2 rumors. I mean, like, remember the whole Cal conversation, and like now we've gotten a little more thoughts about Cameron coming into a show.
It's just once again,
could it be this? Could he have made it out?
If Survivor was out at this point,
I don't think so. But
no, he's not making it past OT. He could show up maybe in a
what do you think
season 2 or
like,
his story will not be fleshed out in anything outside of officially licensed tie-ins when the games are coming out and the games themselves until they are done. And then when the games are done and Respawn has told his story, then we can fit Cal into other stuff.
No, but there were leaks not long ago that
I know that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Just like you could be,
Christian Harlow reported that, which he's not
no, he's not the most reputable, but
no. I'm saying he's not the most disreputable. Like he doesn't report stuff just to say it. Like he says that because he heard it for real. But I don't think if that was a thing, it would be. I don't know. You keep talking.
I don't think it would be Mando. I just thought it was fun to bring up because you remember like how big the Cal conversation was.
Dude, it was dumb.
But we're talking about. We're talking about Force users.
What are you guys talking about?
I wouldn't be surprised if we get some Force users this season.
Who else?
Who though?
Who else? Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, well, I mean, there have been rumored characters in Ahsoka to be Force sensitives on the dark side. So I think potentially there.
Right.
I mean, I don't
think we'll see them in Mando.
Anyone existing? I think that more than ever, this is shaping up to be a very connected universe. So
sure.
I think if we're going towards a story
Snoke.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Depending on his
that's exactly what I'm saying. Is if like dark side Force users that have been like rumored, then like why can't they be?
Yeah.
And to that point, it's coming to my head now. Magistrate from she's a Mando character. I mean, not even like
she'll.
I know, but
she'll probably be in it.
I mean, probably, right?
Yeah.
She'll probably. I don't know if that's something that's like on people's radar, but like.
That's more of the Ahsoka story, though, right?
Well, I also think she's presumed dead. Like I consider that character.
I don't think Ahsoka would kill someone in cold blood.
Like, I don't think so.
Okay. I said presumed dead, and also
I don't presume.
I don't think.
I'm sure she's in jail. I mean, what if we see Magistrate and Moff Gideon like see each other in jail?
That would be cool. And
like
Coruscant,
she's obviously involved in Thrawn and like in this whole First Order / Imperial thing going on. Like. So I would say like Moff fits into that. Like she fits into
Magistrate.
So I don't think that is a one and done character. Now whether or not we see her in Ahsoka or Mando.
Oh, I got one. Cobb coming out of the back.
Oh, I mean that. I don't think that's a crazy. I think we'll see Cobb.
Coming out of the back to tank.
Cobb is a sort of an ingrained Mando character at this point. Like they're boys. Like the first thing that happens in Book of Boba when Mando goes back to Tatooine. It's like
I love that scene.
He's like, I gotta go get. He's like, I go get my boy. Like, he's like,
Cobb. But with my boy, Cobb.
Like they're friends. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Do you think we'll go back to Tatooine again this season?
No, what do you mean?
No, sorry. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yes, we will absolutely get.
Do you think we will? We know.
I forgot.
We haven't even mentioned Boba and Fennec because it's just that feels like that's gonna happen, right?
I don't know. I mean.
If we get Tatooine, we
like if he's stopping in to see Peli, like he could just stop in to see Boba. Like,
dude, if we're seeing freaking Peli, dude, we gotta see Boba.
He can go check in on Cobb. Like, I can see him going and seeing if Cobb is all right. Like that is a plot point that is like.
I can see Cobb like in a regenerative state.
Peli has been in since season 1, and I think it could be a situation where he stops in the hangar, gets.
I know, but he's there.
Do you think it would be just the hangar?
I don't think it's crazy if we didn't like.
I know, but Boba is just like is a Mando character now, right? Like
he's so big. He's so big on that planet.
I think I'm just still salty about the like Mando taking up the Boba screen time. Like, I want Boba to take up some Mando screen time.
We've been going for a while here. Cool. Maybe we can briefly talk about it. But yeah, the Star Wars Hong Kong Twitter account or Facebook account put out that Boba was in it and then took it down. Now, I've been saying behind the scenes, in our chats and whatnot, that I think it's complete nonsense. I think those foreign accounts literally they will post anything they see. They used a screenshot from season 2, and then when Lucasfilm got wind of it, I'm like, you can't say that because either it's a spoiler or it's not true. So either way, take it down. And then they took it down because I don't think that I don't know the amount of times that those foreign social accounts have just retweeted and posted leaks as fact. Yeah. Remember when Rosario retweeted that article about how Mina Massoud was Ezra. I was like, can't wait to work with you.
Can't wait to work with you.
Don't think that wasn't true.
Yeah.
I
mean, I think it's often stuff that you could just predict. So it's like, are they just know the plot?
I can see sort of,
I could go and I could tweet out this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. And it's all very plausible, sort of base level prediction stuff. And I don't know.
I could see Boba and Fennec.
No, I am expecting to see Boba, and I think that's why this Hong Kong account predicted that, because it's that's a pretty easy they're gonna be Boba,
Yeah.
I want Boba. I want Boba.
Who else we think? Any other names you can throw out?
I want Migs Mayfeld. I don't think it will happen.
I want Migs.
Yeah, dude, I don't think we're getting Migs either, dude, which is sad. I don't see how they cross paths.
Because in my rewatch, he is literally my one of, if not my favorite.
Migs is fantastic. He makes both of those episodes.
Yeah.
Like The Believer. I know we sort of talked about Mando rankings earlier, and then we just got lost in the conversation, which is too bad because I had my list already. But to that point, The Believer was very high up on that.
It's my number 1.
Yeah,
my favorite episode.
It's my number 3, I believe.
But I have a hard time comparing them because I love Rick's episodes so much. I think Chapter 2
is Rick doing one?
Chapter 2, The Child, is a highly underrated episode where it's this quick 30-minute thing, like the Jawa bit and the egg and the sandcrawler fight, all of that stuff. Mando inside the sandcrawler is such a great piece of visual comedy that I totally forgot about. The Jawa was using their old can on a string to communicate to each other. It's great. I'm like, I love this. This is so pure to me. No, and yet that episode is never in conversation. Ever.
Rick is directing an episode this season.
I think he's directing 2. Emily Swallow.
I heard somewhere that he was doing the premiere and the finale.
Yeah, Emily Swallow said that she worked with him on her first episode and last episode.
Yeah. So I think he's doing the premiere and the finale, which would be awesome.
I mean, we're not. I don't know why we're even talking about this. He came out in Celebration. He's literally like an EP of the show.
Oh, we know. He's directing an episode for a while.
So he's definitely.
I just couldn't remember the director.
I think he's doing the first and last. I'm subscribing.
I figured he was
because I want it to be true.
I want a Rick up. Yeah, I want a Rick up.
I want 2 Rick up.
Yeah. But point is though, I could see Migs maybe coming in there.
I mean, yeah, that's a good.
If it's a Rick episode,
no, but he had such a good ending though. He had such a complete he's done.
To bring him back would not serve the story. Just be like, oh look, it's Bill Burr again.
But I want it because I
want it. I know, but we don't. Well, hold on. I know, but we don't know the story. But I'll give you that.
No, but I know his story. I know Mig's story. I'm just saying, his character is perfectly wrapped.
I know, but think about but maybe he wants to join something larger than himself. I mean, look at the world around him. He wants to get
involved with Mandalore. I don't.
No. I just mean with the Empire rising and the whole 4-star.
Yeah, this is
sure.
I don't know.
It's 2:30 a.m. Okay.
It is.
It is late. So I mean, we've been going.
There's a lot more to talk about. 20.
There is. I could keep talking.
Oh, I know. Well, to that point, we're back into Mando season, which is just obviously special for the channel because I think it's where things really kicked off.
Our humble beginnings.
And just as Star Wars fans, we've loved the Bad Batch and all this other stuff, but I mean Andor, but it doesn't feel as much as
Mando is where our hearts are.
Thing. Well, just more so in terms of how the world reacts to it. When Mando is out, it is just dominating social media.
It's
a cultural revolution, which also means more more people coming through the channel and more conversations to be had with the community, which is great for us. So
Mando is what Star Wars has been for the last 4 years.
It's true. So the next 8 weeks, and on is
gonna be fun, dude.
Content is gonna be ramped up. There's gonna be a lot to talk about.
I missed the week-to-week Mando. Haven't had it in a minute.
We're about to get it.
Like,
this is all before. This is how much we're talking now. So I just know this Wednesday, we're gonna be streaming.
Talk about the premiere.
We are just gonna be going on and on and on. We're gonna be bringing people on. It's gonna be a good vibe. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, if you aren't tired of listening,
we should absolutely wrap this episode. But yeah, I could go. I want to talk about. I'm like,
yes, we can wrap.
That was my segue into the
overall thoughts though. Mando season 3, can't wait.
Can't wait.
Super hyped.
We're excited and we're
passionate
wait about the Mando.
I hope it's a good season. I hope it's my favorite. I'm going in hoping it's my favorite.
I am too. I think it will.
But we'll see.
I think it'll be the best. It'll be my favorite.
Thank you everybody for watching. This is another episode of All Nerds Podcast. Thank you for coming.
Leave your predictions down below.
Yes, yeah. Put them down there. Be sure to like the video and make sure to keep checking the channel out because we're gonna be posting a lot more because of Mando. Mando's our bread and butter. So expect a lot more, and we will see you guys after the premiere.
Bye.
Bye-bye.